fun. We want the best. We won't settle for less. Don't be a drag. Participate. Climb on the half shell and roller skates. Roller skates. Good time. Be on a good time. Leave your care behind. Be on a good time. Good time. Be on a good time. A new state of mind. Be on a good time. Good time. It's getting late. Time marches on. Just can't wait. The clock keeps turning. Why hesitate? You silly fool. You can't change your fate. Let's cut the rug. Little child and jitterbug. We want the best. We won't settle for less. Don't be a drag. Participate. Climb on the half shell and roller skates. Roller skates. Good time. Be on a good time. Leave your care behind. Be on a good time. Good time. Be on a good time. A new state of I can't get enough. No, I can't get enough. Instant replay. I've got to have it. Instant replay. Ooh. Instant replay. I've got to have your love again. Ooh, I feel so good about it. I found a shining star, and when I
walk my hands. No, we're gonna do that in. Now you see the initial cost of the mold. Once the mold is made, and Ashby will own the mold.
Start again, it's going to cost more money, right? To set it. You have to set it up. Is there another setup charge?
These guys, these men get paid by the hour. I have to run this mold on a Saturday or Sunday, and I have to pay them out of my own pocket. The boss is letting me run the machines.
Well, then,
he's not charging me his price for the machines. If he was, he wouldn't touch it for less than $75 an hour. This plastic, you got to dry it out ahead of time. You take his picture.
Oh good. God, I don't want to get into
this place. They're the original mirrors for the car.
This is a 56 car.
In a used car lot in West Seneca, New York.
How long ago?
2.5 years.
2.5 years? Was it close to this condition?
No.
Or have you done a lot of work?
No. $1,200 worth of frame underneath it.
Oh my word. Okay.
There we go. Car looking good now though. Made a little barter system with the friend of mine who owns a collision shop. I built an addition on his office and he did the car.
Oh, that's a good barter system. Typical Nash. Typical Nash.
No money past hands.
Okay. Okay, so automatic or stick?
Stick shift. Was originally an automatic.
And you changed it?
It was changed when I got it.
Is it an overdrive?
Overdrive.
You like it?
Yeah, love it.
All right. That's nothing like Nashing. You are?
Ed Egan from West Seneca, New York.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. You are?
Francis King.
From?
Strakersville, New York.
All right. And what do you have here?
1957 Nash Ambassador Custom.
Tell me some of the features of this car.
This was the first year of the AMC V8. In the Ambassador, that is. Conditioning. Factory year, that is. Just about all the accessories possible, including vent shades and chrome pillars.
What's particular about the 57 Nash as opposed to the others? Does it have a place in history, automotive history?
Only in regard it was the first year of the 327 AMC V8. And dual headlamps before they were legal. This was the last Nash, that's right.
Last Nash produced. Thank you, sir. And we have here
Dave Schapp from Scottsburg, New York.
And what kind of car do you have here, Dave?
We got a 32 Nash model 970. It's a sport coupe with a rumble seat and straight 8 engine. And we call her Alice.
What is particular about this car as opposed to some of the other Nashes of that year?
Well, this was the small 8-cylinder, the flathead engine, not the overhead valves, and single ignition. It was a second line car. They had a 6 and then this 8 and then 2 larger 8s. Oh, it's not too good on gas, about 13 miles a gallon, but it's got all kinds of power and will keep up with modern traffic. This car, about the only thing that's been restored on it is the bumpers have been repainted or re-chromed, and the black fenders have been repainted, but the green paint is basically original, the upholstery is original. And the car's only got 33,000 miles on it, original miles of that.
It's lovely. Thanks, Dave.
You're welcome.
We have here
Ray Winzig, Tonawanda, New York.
And what kind of car is this, Ray?
It's a 1928 Nash. Band 6, 360 coupe.
Tell us as opposed to other Nashes that year.
In a way that is a large chassis, a large engine, and yet it's only a coupe body. And to the best of my knowledge, there's only 4 or 5 known. And this one in particular has the accessory package which was available at that time, which is the wire wheels, the side mounts, and a trunk rack. Most cars of this year and era had the disc wheels, so it makes it even a little more rare than the other coupes that we know about. Nash about 10 years. I spent 7 years restoring it. I did 80% of it myself, other than upholstery and painting and plating. It was a great project, and we've had a lot of fun with it. We drive it all over, and it's just a great automobile.
Thanks, Ray.
Okay. You and I?
Anybody.
Okay, we should.
You are?
John Trotter, from Peekskill, New York.
And what kind of car do you have, John?
1955 Nash Ambassador. I bought this car about 6 years ago from the original owner. It's got over 100,000 miles on it. And the paint is original, the chrome is original, so is the interior. The car's in terrific condition considering the mileage. And gets 18 to 20 miles on a gallon out on a highway. And haven't had any trouble with it in 6 years.
Thank you, John. You are?
Bob Aaron,
Where are you from, Bob?
Hubbard, Ohio,
And what kind of car do you own?
1957 Nash Ambassador, hardtop.
Tell me some particular things about this car as opposed to other Nashes of that year.
Oh, it has a 327 V8 engine, 4-barrel carburetor. It's got dual range hydromatic, and it'll go. Very, very good road car.
This particular one.
City, her husband passed away, and they had bought it for retirement, and he took real good care of it. Obviously.
Anything else you'd like to say about it?
Not for sale.
Thanks, Bob. I guess that tells the story. Larry Blatt from Philadelphia, and I have here two rare 1957 Rambler Rebels. Only us Nash people know what these cars were, and let's just say that they're the fastest production sedan built in 1957 by anybody. We have one here that's an older restoration that belongs to me, and this one here has been newly restored. It belongs to our good friend Lloyd Dunn from Auburn, Maine, who is filming this right now. Both cars are stick with overdrive, which was the standard transmission for the Rebel in 57. The option was the dual range hydromatic. The differences in the two cars are that Lloyd's car doesn't have the Continental kit and mine does, and Lloyd's has the tinted glass and mine doesn't. I'm going to get out of the way. I'll get out of the way. As we were saying, these were the fastest production sedans produced in 1957 by an American manufacturer. They were supposedly available with the Bendix electronic fuel injection system, which to this point, as far as Lloyd and I know, none were produced, although we've heard rumors that they were produced, but we haven't been able to prove anything. Anyway, this is the way they should look when they're all done, and this is the way they look when I've got it. The cars came standard with many, many features. Power steering, power brakes were standard, special flange brake drums were used on the car, reclining seats were standard, Gabriel adjustomatic shock absorbers were standard, as was a front sway bar and heavy-duty coil springs all the way around. AM radio with rear deck antenna was also standard equipment. Padded dashboard, padded sun visors, and of course reclining seats were all standard equipment on the Rambler Rebel for 1957. There were only very few options, and they were the Continental kit, the hydromatic transmission, Solex glass, which Lloyd's car has, and factory air conditioning, of which only 83 were built and 70 were the stick overdrive. What else can I tell you about these cars? These cars will They set a precedent in automotive history. They were the first compact-sized car to have a larger engine stuffed in them. Now, many people think that Pontiac did it in 1964 with the GTO, but as we all know, Nash and American Motors always beat everybody to the punch. Here it is, the little car with the big Nash 327 V8 in it. Here it is, the big Nash Hudson 327 V8 with 4-barrel carburetor, 9.5 to 1 compression ratio, and mechanical valve lifters. It's rated at 255 horsepower at 4,700 RPM. Now, while it didn't put out the horsepower of the Chevrolet 327 V8, incidentally, which nothing interchanges, these things couldn't be killed unless they were really, really abused. They were known to go well over 100,000 miles before needing any work, and some of them went well over 200,000 miles. Now, a lot of us like to drive our antique cars, but us guys with Nashes and Ramblers, we like to drive them too, but we all know that Nash and AMC were always first with everything. So when Lloyd and I drive our 57 Rebels, we know we're driving a car that has advanced unit construction, which everybody is using today. We have McPherson strut-type front suspensions, which everybody uses today. Everybody. We have overdrive transmission, we have reclining seats, padded dashboard, padded sun visor, and when we step on the gas, we know we've stepped on the gas.
Thank you very much, Larry.
Thank you, Lloyd.
That came out of motor.
Well, I love your Nash Healey. Who are you?
Oh, thank you. My name is Mike Feingold. I'm from Randolph, Massachusetts.
How you doing, Mike? Tell me something about this car.
Well, this is a 1951 Nash Healey. It was the product of a cooperative effort between the Donald Healey Motor Car Company of England and Nash Motors of Kenosha, Wisconsin. Nash shipped a nearly stock Ambassador drivetrain over to England, Donald Healey's factory, and he installed it in a body and chassis of his own design. Nash Healeys were built for 4 years, from 1951 through 1954. They built a total of 506 cars, plus 4 race cars, and 104 of this particular model, which is an aluminum body. From 52 through 54, Donald Healey shipped the completed chassis over to Pininfarina in Italy, and he installed a steel body of his own design, and the completed cars were then shipped back to the United States. This particular car had a list price of $4,063, and 104 were built. And
so you had this car?
I've owned it for 9 years.
And how much?
Found it in a junkyard, Bellingham, Massachusetts, bought it from a former Hudson dealer.
I guess you took this from the ground up and restored it.
Yeah, it was in pretty tough shape when I bought it. The rod bearings were in a Dixie cup under the front seat. Virtually complete, and that's the reason I purchased it. I'd always wanted one. The very first and only time I had ever seen a Nash Healey was at a Nash dealer in 1960, where my father did business, and there was a car exactly like this. And 12 years later, when I was in a position to purchase one, I was very fortunate to find it. Welcome.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
England consists of 6 states, coastal plain, mountainous regions, but these are things you can find out in the encyclopedia. What we'd like to do is show you some of the people and some of the local color that comes from this region.
I wish I could do it.
He's great out there. He humors all the people. He keeps everybody laughing and smiling. And all this traffic is terrible out here, and he just kind of keeps everybody up.
Hi. Everybody seems to be winning in this situation. Traffic is flowing better. Officer John Browning is having fun, and he's even lost 7 pounds.
Looking into history, this is a great place.
Did get on that horse, but he did most anything to oblige the cameramen. And as president, he did very little else. H.L. Mencken wrote, "The itch to run things did not afflict him. He was content to let them run themselves." Well, the truth is, things ran themselves pretty well while Calvin Coolidge was president. No scandals, no panics, no wars.
New England, I love you.
In the majestic White Mountains of New Hampshire, where the Appalachian Trail soars along the lofty crests of the Presidential Range. In fact, I'm standing in the shadow of the summit of Mount Washington, or Big George as the locals call it. It's the highest peak in the northeastern United States. Now, unlike the lush evergreen and rhododendron-covered lowlands of the southern Appalachian Trail, these New Hampshire highlands offer miles and miles of spectacular above timberline hiking. You can see that I'm surrounded by spectacular peaks on all sides, deep cliffs and gorges. It's just beautiful. One of the prices that you pay for such spectacular scenery is having to exercise a little caution with your hiking. I'm standing right next to a trail marker, Mount Washington style. It's called a cairn, and to mark this trail here, there's a cairn every 20 feet. In bad weather or whiteout, even that might not be close enough for you to see from cairn to cairn. Now, in addition to being some of the most spectacular scenery that you'll find anywhere on the Appalachian Trail, this is one of the most savage and unpredictable areas in terms of weather. The highest winds ever recorded on Earth were up there on the summit of Mount Washington, 231 miles an hour, which translates to a wind chill factor about absolute 0. That's real cold. Now, in the fall, if you're lucky enough to be here then, these surrounding hillsides will turn to a beautiful display of colors as the maple and birch and beech and ash turn red and gold and brilliant yellow. It's just a spectacular display, and you'll never forget it if you do see it. The northern terminus of the Appalachian Trail is another 350 miles along at Maine's Katahdin. The weather's already turning bad there. There's probably snow on the peak, but this is as far as I go on the Appalachian Trail. Right here, Mount Washington.
Now we'll leave the country's oldest snuff factory in Massachusetts and head on.
Then it was on to New Hampshire until I got sidetracked off Highway 1 by a sign that promised the oldest boys' club in America. I was willing, the road wasn't. A friendly fella standing in the middle of nowhere advised me against the muddy journey. Funny thing thing about this part of the country, it closes down in winter. And that's probably why the guy at Mystery Hill was surprised to see me. I had seen signs along New Hampshire Highway 28 boasting America's Stonehenge, so I thought I'd take a look. Who named it Mystery Hill?
Well, I guess I did.
To the untrained eye, Mystery Hill looked like a stone maze built by a pack of deranged Boy Scouts. To the trained eye, it looked like a phony. The folks at Harvard say it was built about a century or so ago by a fellow named Jonathan Patty. Eventually I drove on, past churches that look the way they're supposed to, and graveyards that have witnessed 3 centuries. I wanted to make it to the main town of Kennebunkport by nightfall. Now, I kind of wanted to go winter fishing, and I got my chance at, or at least very near, the crack of dawn with Tom West and Jim Alwyn on the Allison E. Tom explained, however, that they'd be shrimping for 12 solid hours on cold, choppy seas with no chance of turning back. So with wisdom, if not courage, I opted for my own boat and followed them out. The wind picked up, went from 10 miles an hour to about 25. A guy on our boat said the wind chill was 40 below. I believed him. It was miserable, and yet magnificent at the same time. It was no good. Tom couldn't fish in seas this rough. He headed for the shoreline. This marked his 6th straight day without catching a fish, but he was used to that.
Just part of the business. We go try it again tomorrow, I guess.
Inevitably, New England is changing with the times. Family-owned light industries, very light in this case, and independent operators like the fishermen are disappearing. The big business now is tourism, visitors like me. We come here because we love the history. The New Englanders live it.
If you get lost while you're in New England, just going around in circles, just ask for directions.
Excuse me? Excuse me. Do you know how we might find a town? Might get to a town?
A village.
Well, open for a town.
Village.
Okay. Village?
You stay right on this road.
All right.
Till you come to the store. You go past the store.
Okay.
And about a mile past that store, you're going to come to the widow's place.
Yeah.
And you take a right at the widow's place, and you go about half a mile further, and you take a left just this side of where the old sawmill used to be.
I don't know any widow's place, I'm afraid, or any sawmill for that matter. We're not from around here.
Oh. You don't know where the widow's place is?
Nope, first time here.
Or the sawmill either?
Nope, afraid not.
Well, if you don't know where the sawmill is or the widow's place is, you probably can't get there from here.
Okay, thanks.
What did he say?
I don't know. He don't know nothing. Something about a store. My electrified union suit is just...
While this tourist is trying to find his way around in New England, we're going to be on our way to Hartford, Connecticut, an area for the National Nash meet for 1984.
morning. Well, here we are at a beautiful setting here in Vernon, Connecticut at the Nash Car Meet. And we have with us here this morning Rick Norcross. And Rick, would you tell us what your role is in this event?
Well, I'm bringing my band, the Nashville Ramblers, down from Burlington, Vermont, and we're looking forward to performing for all the members of the Nash Car Club of America and friends. And we'll be talking a little bit later about the big Nashville bash that we're presenting for the Mayor's Council on the Arts up in Burlington, Vermont.
Sounds exciting.
Quarter or
Pretty reasonable. My name, sir, is
Richard Chatley, Monday, New York.
Okay, and what is your car, Dick?
A 1921 Nash four-door sport touring sedan, model 41.
And I understand that this car has been in your family, your wife's family, for many years.
For my wife's family, her grandfather bought it brand new in 1921. People that bought the car when it was brand new in 1921, they paid around $1,400 for the car brand new.
Name, sir, is?
Ed Murphy, Lexington, Mass.
And would you tell us a little bit about your car, Ed?
Wreck, and it took me 7 years to restore it. It's a 1927 Nash Roadster Special, and someday I hope to have it really the way I want it. There's maybe 2 or 3 little things that I need now that would make it perfect.
And your name, sir, is?
Bob Majeski.
And Bob, where's your home?
Prospect, Connecticut. The thing about this car is not the fact that it's a 28 Standard 6, because there's enough of these around that they're not that rare. What's interesting about this car is the fact that I'm only the second owner, and that's only as of 1976. The thing about the car, that license plate number on the front of the car is still registered under that number. And that car's had that tag since 1937 when Connecticut went to permanent plates. Because it never switched owners, every time Connecticut changed the design of the plates, the car kept getting in the mail that number. The state allowed me to register it under those numbers, and as far as the state knows, there's no other car that has an unbroken registration through World War II like that.
Excuse me.
That makes it quite unique. It's also the only 1928 Nash registered in Connecticut at this time. So, and she's a honey. When I go to the meets, it definitely turns ahead, and I hear all the stories how somebody's aunt or uncle or great uncle owned one. And I figured if everybody that said that had owned one, Nash would probably be the biggest car manufacturer in the world today.
Thank you a lot, Bob, for your interview, and certainly this is a very, very interesting automobile. This is Jim Restoni from Stoneham, Massachusetts, and Jim, tell us a little bit about your car.
Well, we painted up the engine a little bit, a couple of different colors. That's the color we seem to like best. Put these on, especially for looks. Put the stripes on. We just shined these up just now. Special wax here. All these pieces here. Nothing much really, but just detail it, because we take care of our car, do the best we can. Get ready for this particular show here. Just come up last night, and they got quite a selection of cars here. This is a 25 Nash. The car, we had to decide on a different couple of colors. First it was black, then we changed the top half to a lighter gray, and then we decided to go a solid color gray, and that's what seems to look best on the car. You know, it's hard to decide because you like all 3 of them, but this here seems to look best.
Your time, we appreciate your telling us a little bit about your car. Certainly very interesting.
Thank you very much.
Now look, there's got the same basic nose except for
Probably got a Chevy engine on it.
Real, side grill. Oh, that's a 39.
And your name, sir, is?
Bill Hanna from Pittsburgh, PA.
Restoration job, and it's been exciting to see some of the nice jobs that people have done with their cars this year. And this is Fred Johnson, and Fred, where's your home?
Racine, Wisconsin.
Did you drive this car all the way to the scene?
6-cylinder, and 6 Victoria.
We just got here a minute ago.
Bob Goyette. Bob, where's your home?
Chelmsford, Mass.
And you drove down this morning?
Yes, I did.
And would you tell us a little bit about your car, Bob?
And I am the second owner. The car has 39,000 miles on it. It was sold originally in 1940 by J&S Motors in Whitensville, Mass. I saw it in 1962 at J&S Motors because I am friends with this dealer and I bought a number of cars from him. The old gentleman who owned it, when he got to be about 80 years old, decided he was too old to drive and gave it back to the original dealer. They were selling Ramblers at the time and enjoyed playing with the car a little bit, but over the years they ran out of time and the thing sat out back and it started to look very bad from the sun eating up the paint. One day in 1971 I told him that it was a crime what he was doing to the car, and he said, "You're right," and he gave it to me. The car has been completely repainted by me, as a matter of fact. Took it all apart. Everything that could be removed was taken off. It needed no body work, but the interior had suffered from the sun, so it has seat covers, and I still need dash plastics if any of you people out there can help. The engine's never been apart. Came down here this morning 90 miles without a bit of trouble.
Bob, for sharing that interesting story about your Nash. It's really quite an unusual story. Thank you. This is Cal Wallingford from Dover, New Hampshire, and he's got a 1937 Nash. Cal, tell us a little bit more about your car.
Well, it's a 3788 model, and it's an original interior and exterior. It's never been done. I put new tires, new plugs and points, and away we go. 3788, which is a 125-inch wheelbase for the 8-cylinder, and the 6-cylinder is a 121-inch wheelbase, and the Lafayette is a 119 with a flathead 6.
Well, as I understand it, this is the largest engine that they made, and it had twin ignition and made it a very unusual automobile.
16 spark plugs, 2 sets of points, 2 condensers, 2 coils. Tune that one up. Yeah, you ought to take the front of it, too.
This is a picture of the engine of this car, and as you can see, it has double the amount of spark plugs, 16 plugs, and twin points, twin condenser,
2 coils.
2 coils. It's probably a mechanic's nightmare to tune up, but it certainly is a beautiful machine. And we'd like to thank Cal today for his time and sharing us the story of this automobile.
That's 35,000 miles.
Thanks a lot, Cal.
Okay. Good underneath.
The twin 6 ignition on his 37 Nash. Camera, Dave, where's your home?
I'm come from Needham, Massachusetts.
And did you drive down this morning?
We drove down yesterday.
What a nice trip that must have been, and I'm sure this little car chugs right along in the road very nicely.
Good riding car all the way. To keep it at a steady 55 to 60 with the overdrive that Nash built 50-odd years ago.
It's amazing, isn't it? Some of the technology that they used in those days is still being used today.
Excellent technology in many, many aspects.
You notice carefully about this engine, it has the 8 plugs on this side of the engine, right under the exhaust manifold. Also, the air cleaner, as I understand it, is considerably different from the smaller models, the 6-cylinder and the Lafayette model.
Shades from the 8 being the 6-cylinder, the same thing, only 12 spark plugs, same configuration, without having the twin vacuums that the 8 has. The 8 had a vacuum actuated starter release so that you could not depress the clutch while you were in actual drive position and inadvertently then start the starter motor. So it had an additional vacuum point. Otherwise, they had the dual action fuel pump to actuate the windshield wipers.
One of the parts vendors that is here today. I'm interested in Jim's T-shirt. Now that shouldn't be on here.
Studebaker power.
Yeah, Jim is vending Nash parts though, and this is Charlie Throckel that is interested in some things for his car, I'm sure.
You have to understand that my by Nash was bought from a Studebaker club member, so that's why I'm here. So if I don't...
Hey, Steve, have you seen Joe?
You left to the hotel. I don't really know. Why?
No, this gentleman's looking for him. But get out of his way.
This car's grow from New Jersey?
From Islip, Long Island.
Islip, Long Island, New York. And this is a 57 Ambassador Custom. And Bob, tell us a little bit about this car.
Well, I just got this car about 6 months ago. All right, go ahead. I bought this car about 6 months ago from club member Jim Buckholz in Missouri. And it interested me because I've been looking for a very nice 57 for many years. This particular one has only 19,000 original miles. And the original owner hardly ever used it. He was a judge out in Kokomo, Indiana. We've done a lot of work on it, new paint, added factory air conditioning, took the engine out and detailed it, but it's a rather nice running car. I don't know if you can hear it on your tape there, but it's a pretty nice car. Cover Walters, cut it out. This sounds just like the later 327 with a typical valve slider. I guess that was authentic. The car only has 19,000 miles. The valve covers were repainted, including the Nash Ambassador V8, which looks like a decal, but it was actually hand-painted on there. The decals were not remade. Factory air conditioning unit on this is put together from a group of parts from 6 or 8 different cars I had gotten with the car when I purchased it. And it's taken this past 6-month period to properly install it into the car. It's working rather nice right now.
Cars drove from Islip, Long Island for showing us this absolutely stunning 57 V8. It is gorgeous. What a lovely engine compartment. And Bob, you certainly ought to be proud of this. It's beautiful.
I think we are. We're glad to be here for the 1984 National.
Just show Ray that orange, that red engine. See this one?
Yeah.
Here it is. What do you want to know?
Moore from Bellingham, Massachusetts, and Ed has probably one of the most unique cars here today because it's the only racing car here. And I noticed that Ed has a whole series of pictures that tell a little bit about this car's early life. So, Ed, why don't you tell us a little bit about how this car came to be in this area? And
okay, this is Le Mans race car. This photo shows when it raced in France in 1952. Le Mans race, the car was brought to the States to be displayed by Nash in various auto shows, and here it is on display in the Boston Auto Show, Autorama. The fellow on the right is Preston Gray, who bought the car direct from Nash. It was offered for sale to Sports Car Club of America members only by sealed bid. He bid on the car and he won the car for the highest bid. Here's a bill of sale. Here's his bill of sale when he bought it in 1953 with the stipulation that it was sold
old and as-is condition to be used competitively with only a Nash engine. This is the way the car looks today after Preston Gray added the second windshield and the passenger seat so that his wife could ride with him because he drove it on the road.
And Bob, where are you from?
Belvedere, New Jersey.
And Bob, this car is very unusual because it's, I believe, the only modified Nash in the meet. And perhaps you could tell us a little bit about it, the condition of it when you found it and what you've done to it in the meantime.
The car in a barn in Pennsylvania, and I made the man a reasonable offer. And the reason it's modified is because I'm a street rodder and I wanted an unusual street rod. And I figured I'd take a Nash and make a street rod out of it. It's got a Ford rear, and it's got some, to explain it to you, it's got a Gravely tractor rear end that steers it. I had to reverse the steering, so that's what I used to do it. And the headlight doors are made by my buddy. He cast them out of aluminum and made the emblems that are on the front that say Nashville. The interior, my daughter helped me do the interior. She sews pretty good, and it's a pleasure to drive the car. It's a little bit better than the Model A I used to drive. It's more comfortable inside because it's got more cushion than the last car I used to own, and it was a very nice trip coming up. It's a 402 cubic inch big block Chevy. And it's got Corvette 427, 435 tri-power carburation on it. And believe it or not, it's given me a pretty decent gas mileage coming up here. I don't know the exact mileage, but if I use $40 worth of gas to make my round trip, it's going to be a lot of gas. And it's, like I say again, it's a pleasure to drive it.
For your interview and enlightening us on this very fascinating automobile. I didn't ask you, how fast does it go?
55.
55, great, that's fantastic. Are you a law enforcement officer?
No, I'm not, but it did at one time go 15.2 seconds in a quarter mile. I did take it to the drag race.
Fantastic, that's really neat. You know, maybe we ought to hear you start it up and listen to that engine purr.
Okay, I'll give it a shot.
Hey, Jeff.
And we have here Dick Reef from Falls Creek, Pennsylvania. And Dick has a very unusual car. It looks like an unrestored 1925 early model. And Dick, why don't you tell us a little bit about this car?
Well, it's a good original. I'm 400 miles from home under my own power, and that's part of why I haven't improved the appearance. I run hundreds of miles and I have to keep tinkering with it to keep it running, so I get my fun out of running it, and the appearance is sort of at a standstill the way it's been for almost 60 years.
How long have you owned the car, Dick?
About 5 years. I've run it. This is probably the third year that I've run it some. So I don't have a show car really, because I'm too busy running it at long distances, and that's hard on appearance too, as well as running gear wear.
But that makes fun when you don't have to spend a lot of time polishing the outside and just enjoy driving it. I think that's great.
This is a 25. 25 was the first year that Nash had four-wheel brakes. It's the first year they put so-called balloon tires on them, which are 30 to 35 pound pressure, 50, 55 pound high pressure tires. Prior to that, there'd only been 2 series. So they started with a third engine for 1925.
Well, thank Dick Reef for his interview and his 1925 Nash. Thanks a lot, Dick. And
yeah, well,
it's a pleasure.
I'm very happy to be here. This is the 3rd or 4th National I've been to, I guess, and I think this is the best.
That's great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Here, Neil Black, who is the immediate past president of the Nash Car Club, and Neil's from California. Neil, tell us a little bit about this meet and the concept of Grand Nationals.
Well, this being the 15th anniversary of the Nash Car Club, we 6 years ago decided to rotate the Grand National meet, provide the opportunity of having a Grand National in the backyard of different club members, so to speak, in different parts of the country, because a lot of people can't travel halfway across the country to attend a meet. And by revolving or rotating the Grand Nationals to the East Division, to Central Division, to the Western Division, on rotating years, we can have a Grand National in our own backyard, so to speak. In those alternating years, we also have a Division National, so that everyone each year has the opportunity of being able to attend a national meet. Next year, it will be in San Jose, California for the Western Divisional area. Last year, it was in Kenosha, Wisconsin. So this way, Nationals are everywhere, and we have a chance to talk to everyone, let them show their cars off in each area.
Neil, I understand that when the Grand National is not being held in the division in an off year, there is an alternate type meet. Perhaps you could describe that to us.
In the years that the Grand National is not held in a particular division, we have a Division National. It's basically the same concept of the Grand National, but without quite the extensive production involved. So that the local members or in a region area still are able to take their cars to the meet, show them off, and show their proud restoration or originality of the car. So this still gives them the opportunity of basically going to a national meet, but not having to travel across country to do it.
Thank Neil Black for all this information in regard to the National and the Grand National, and thank you very much for coming that long distance this year. I'm sure the Nash Club members appreciate that, and it's been fascinating for me to see all these beautiful automobiles here today.
Well, the worst part about traveling cross country to this meet is the depressing part that I didn't have time to be able to drive one of my Nashes to the meet. Had to fly here commercially, but it's worth it to see the cars in the other area, and it really makes everything work, makes the club worthwhile. Thank you.
Thank you. And here we have Don Thomas from Massachusetts. Where do you live in Massachusetts, Don?
I live in Wakefield, Massachusetts, about 10 miles northwest of Boston. I have here a 1932 Nash town sedan, model 1067. Model 1067 Nash, I answered an ad in the Boston Sunday Globe. It was a sedan that my wife and I had looked at for a few months, and we needed it because we had a family of 3 children who had a tendency to jump up and down in the rumble seat of our 29. The car is basically original. I have not done too much, and this is the way we found the car when we answered the ad in the Boston Globe.
Thank Don Thomas today for this interview and showing us his 1932 Nash. It certainly is a nice automobile, and I'm sure a pleasure to drive. Thanks a lot, Don.
Thank you very much. Very good.
And here we have Dave Cole of Danbury, Connecticut, in a 1930 Nash Coupe. A bit about your car.
All right, this is a single 6 model. This evolved from the Ajax to the standard 6 and became the Lafayette. Just restored to as authentic as I can get it. The color is original blue they used. Single 6 is their flathead engine. 66 came out of Torrington, Connecticut. It was sitting under a pile of snow and rocks in the back of a store. It's in an old parking lot.
And what kind of condition was it in, Dave, when you found it?
Almost runnable nowadays.
Oh, that's great. So then you...
Everything was pretty near complete. You know, I mean, there's odds and ends I found over the years, but the bulk of it was there. A few hard pieces I found since. Unfortunately, I found most of my trim pieces about 10 or 15 years ago when I got the car. Now it's really a lot harder to find it.
Are there any other models of this type in the club that you're aware of, or is it a rather unusual model?
I think the sedans probably outnumber. There's a few coupes, 31 coupes, there's a few other coupes, but the coupe's pretty rare.
Well, we'd like to thank Dave Cole for the interview on his 1930 coupe. Certainly is a beautiful looking little machine. I'm sure a pleasure to drive. Thanks a lot, Dave. Here we have Jim Dworshak and his friend, Karen, and Jim is the founder of the Nash Car Club and also the current president of the Car Club. Jim is from Clinton, Iowa, and he has this beautiful little roadster that he's driven here from Iowa, and you notice he is dressed in period clothing with knickers and Argyle socks, a touring cap, suspenders, and he really looks quite authentic. Tell us a little bit about how you acquired this car and what kind of work you had to do to put it on the road.
Yes, this 29 Nash I had bought in 1979, and I had looked for 4 years for one that had caught my eye in the sales literature. I think the color combination and the sportiness of the Roadster I really liked. And I looked for 4 years before I could find this, and I finally found it by putting a wanted ad in Hemmings Motor News. And a fellow wrote me and thought that the car was a gold mine, and it wasn't until about a year later that he couldn't sell the car that he realized it wasn't the gold mine he thought it was. And I bought it in the condition where it looked good, but it was a very cobbled up restoration. And since that time, I've redone a lot of it, and I still have a bit more to do, as is always true with the cars.
In regard to the history of this car, how many of these were produced? Do you know the figure?
I don't know how many were produced, but this was supposedly a 1929 and a half car, introduced half year, and they're very, I think they were rare then, and it's a little bit of a prototype in that the hood has horizontal louvers in it and a couple other features that aren't found on other 29 Nashes that are unique on this Roadster are the horizontal louvers in the hood. All the sedans had vertical louvers, and then below the headlights are the stand-up stanchion pipes, and that was a feature found only on the Roadster and then became standard in 1930 on all of the Nash series cars. Features for the car, the armrests on the door here, and a center pull-down armrest in the middle. Also, the pockets in the doors, which flip up, were originally intended to store the side curtains for the doors. Yeah, appreciate it. Good to meet you. It's been a good show.
Have some fellows that own 50s Nashes. This is Bob Carlin and Joe Gutlieber. And Joe's car is a 51, and Bob's is a 50 Ambassador.
51.
Sorry, Bob's is a 51. And perhaps you fellows could tell us a little bit about how those cars were alike and how they were different.
Well, go ahead, you talk first.
All right, well, man, I got 94,000 usual mileage on it. I did the whole car over, did the engine over, interior, and I did the paint job on it. And it runs pretty good. I'm the third owner on it, and I'm very happy with it.
Bob, of thinking this black car beside us was yours, and that's why I said, how can that be a 51? And yours is down the line a little bit, so let's take a walk down and take a look at that one.
Tell you how I can spot a 51 that's got the fins. Okay, that's got no fins. We're pretty tubby guys, and I guess that's why we drive tubs. Different than mine. I've got a four-door, and of course mine is black, and you've seen the back end of his car. Well, this is what the front end of one looks like. And it's pretty much original. Half the paint has been redone, you know, where it needed to be done, but I tried to salvage most of it. The reason it's here today is I was able to get a very important part for the car from some club member in California, you know, Sychek, who manufactures a torque tube trunnion gasket. Hard to say and harder to put in, but it got me here today. Now, I do the paint work. I take care of cleaning all the paint for a show, but my wife, Mary Jo, she's the chrome cleaner. She should get into the picture, too. So, glasses and all. What else do you want me to tell you? 14 years. I'm a second owner, and the man who sold it to me said, I won't take a penny less than $200 for it. And I gulped hard and said, okay, sold. And we've had it all these years. It served us well as a family car, and now it's just getting too old for that, so we just take it to shows now. So we had a good ride with it all these years. Good car.
Joe, one of the features of the 50s Nashes was the weatherized heating and air conditioning system. Perhaps you could explain a little bit to our audience how it worked.
How it works? All right. The air goes into here and then goes underneath the dashboard. And you have the back windows open, like I have now, and the air cools the whole car. It's much better than the air conditioning. It's cheaper too. And the car runs beautiful, and it's very, very cheap. I went from New York with a full tank of gas, and I got to fill up. I have a half a tank now, and I got to fill up before I go back.
How many miles a gallon?
I really don't know, but I know it's cheap because I drove all the way from Long Island City all the way up to here, and I got a half a tank of gas. And modern cars, you don't get that anymore.
Very nice meeting you.
Here we have Bill Coons from Philadelphia, and Bill has a beautiful 59 Ambassador. What a slick looking car. Bill, maybe you could tell us a little bit about this car and how long you've had it and what condition it was in when you got it.
I've had it for about 3 years now. I picked it up through my wife. She heard about it, told me, and when I saw it, I fell in love with it. It was in very restorable shape. It's my first attempt at working with the car. And,
my car.
There's really not much I can tell you about it.
So I guess you knew it was registered.
I really don't know what to say about it, honestly. It's the AMC 327 V8. It's the 270 horsepower. It has a push-button transmission, power steering, power brakes.
I noticed that you have screens on the windows. Those were one of the options, weren't they?
Yes, they were. They're factory option.
What other options does this car have?
It has the tinted glass. I think it really has about everything except air conditioning and no Continental kit.
And how long did you say you've owned this car?
3 years.
And you put a lot of work into it then, obviously.
Yes, I have. I've gotten parts from all over the country, and it's taken 3 years to get it to the condition it's in now.
It sure is a beautiful looking machine. How does it ride on the road?
Beautiful. I prefer to drive this as my new Brand X car.
That was rather not a good question because obviously they were a great road car. Thank you very much for this interview, and good luck with you. Here we have Charlie Prentice, and Charlie has one of the more unusual cars here today. He has a 66 Rambler American 440, and it's done in sort of a lavender color. Pretty sharp looking machine, Charlie. Charlie, who is this pretty little girl beside you here?
This is my wife, Peggy. And she's somewhat interested in the Rambler as soon as I bought her one.
And do you let her drive this car?
Yeah. She keeps it oiled up while I'm on the road.
That's great. That's terrific. How long have you had this car?
I bought it in January of '82 from Easy Jack Welsh in Kansas, out of the junkyard.
Out of the junkyard. It looks like you've done a lot of work to it since then, man.
I went home from Kansas in a U-Haul truck. And when Peggy first saw it, she was scared to death that it'd never run again. But it took about a year, and we got it going good. We drove it up here from Virginia, 750 miles. No trouble at all.
Since this is a convertible, it would seem that the production of these was probably limited. About how many did they make of this model?
They made 2,091 of this car. And 900 of the Rogue 67 Rogue converts, of which I have one.
That makes this car quite unusual, and in days to come it certainly will increase in value.
I hope so.
Yeah. Charlie and Peggy for giving us this interview on their beautiful 66 American 440, and thanks a lot, Charlie.
Thank you.
We have Bob Stout from Layton, Pennsylvania, and Bob has this beautiful 1931 Model 662R coupe. Bob, maybe you could tell us a little bit about your car.
Bought one back in 1977, which was chopped apart for a stock car, and I didn't have the material to finish the job properly, so I found one in New York, upstate New York, which was a junkyard special, and together with both of them, With 7 years of work, I've come out to the completion of this. I had to do a lot of phone calls to find parts that I didn't have, a lot of R's, banging, hammering, and working things out to get it pretty near perfect. I tried for perfection. And chrome work, I had some chrome work done which wasn't satisfactory to me. I had to send my other stuff away to get it out for 3-step chrome to have it come out where it looked a shell. And this is what we have come out to.
Sure looks like you've got a beautiful machine. Maybe you could tell us some of the interesting features of this car.
Well, features in it, it's a standard rumble seat coupe, and the options was on it was the 7 wooden spoke wheels with the large hubcaps on, with split rims to take the tires off a lot easier. On the car, which was an option with an additional cost. Also, on the headlight bar, you'll see that the headlight bar is chrome, which was optional, and also the stone guard, which is in front of the radiator, was optional. Now to the back of the car, the side mount spares, we have a luggage rack in the back, which either your luggage or a trunk will be located on. The interior rumble seat area was leather with the option of leather inside interior in the driver's compartment. Yeah, decided to go with the mohair interior instead of the leather interior, which was an optional.
It has an oil filter. Is that something that's standard equipment on these, or was it an option, or something you added on?
No, these was the standard equipment with the oil filter on it. It is a flathead 6-cylinder, which was cheap model in 1931, which is the 660 model. It has an updraft carburetor. It has the 3-speed transmission with a 5-to-1 ratio rear in it, which makes it a very great pulling car for hills, and that is not too well for the open roads.
Oh, yeah.
Pleasure in talking with you, and thanks very much for sharing this information on this beautifully restored Roadster. It's really a slick machine. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, and I really appreciate the being a member of the Nash Club. You're a great bunch of guys, and hope to see you maybe out in California next year if you guys are going to be there.